All right, welcome to Versus. It is the battle of the giant CG-rendered films turned to games. This is Shark Tale from Activision against The Incredibles from THQ, and both games are available for pretty much every platform you can imagine. We looked at both of them on the GameCube. What did you think of the graphics for these two games?
Yeah, well, you know, I thought the graphics for both games were both quite adequate. You know, I don't think any of the games really outdid the other. I thought the fish animations in Shark Tale were actually pretty good, especially on the main fish. You know, the thing was all flapping in the wind.
That they used, I mean, this was obviously from the film, but I like the idea of them using fish as buses and traffic, you know, and little Oscar, you play as a little Oscar character, gets run over by these bigger fish and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty funny. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, visually, I think if you're fans of the films, you're going to dig the look of both of these games, but, you know, The Incredibles, to me, I'm more into superheroes than I am in fish.
Well, that's a given. But yeah, I would have to give the small edge to Incredibles, but they were both adequately well done.
Audio-wise, how do you think Shark Tale did against The Incredibles?
Yeah, well, you know, the music from The Incredibles was written by a good friend of mine, Michael Giacchino, who, oddly enough, was a video game composer who went on to do music for television like Alias and Lost.
Yes.
This is like a first major motion picture that a video game composer worked on. So all the music, I think, is really excellent.
Well,
I mean,
what's cool
they had
about
a whole spy big band vibe going on.
It's very 60s. I was surprised that it went that way, but it seems to fit the style of the film and the game really well. It's very kind of 60s spy kind of thing. Now, Shark Tale, what they've done with that is they got all these licensed
tunes,
disco music,
which was pretty funny as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was pretty cute, and you know, the way they put that, you know, all these Jamaican Caribbean tunes in some areas, and then they have the Fat Boys.
Yes. I did like the fact that The Incredibles had Samuel L. Jackson in there for the voiceover.
The voices were great.
Missing the Holly Hunter voice, though.
Craig T. Nelson.
And Craig T. Nelson would have been nice. He didn't show up, which is, you know, they got sound-alikes, but it's always better when they have the real actors. And the guys in Shark Tale, I mean, where's Will Smith?
So, yeah, I mean, you know, I'd say overall I did like the original music more so in The Incredibles, so I'd have to give the audio nod to The Incredibles.
I think so, too. I thought the audio in The Incredibles was a little bit better. Now, in terms of gameplay, how do you think these two stacked up against each other?
I thought both games were really skewed towards a younger audience.
Yeah, way too young.
You know?
I mean, Shark Tale, I can kind of understand that they wanted to, you know, to include Grandma and the kids and everybody into that, because it seems a little bit more kind of, you know, general audience type kind of a film.
Right.
The Incredibles is actually skewed to a little bit of an older audience, so I was a little bit surprised to see it being such a
It's more of a simplistic game. See, but I like that.
I didn't.
I like
that was
really
like
Crash
bugging me.
Bandicoot is a pretty simplistic game
Yeah,
as
but
well.
Crash Bandicoot is loaded with all kinds of finesse and detail.
But didn't you think, like, you know, the fact that, you know, you had to use, like, the different powers of each of the different characters, you had to stretch onto something. So
it was way too
like
by the numbers. I felt like
sometimes.
I was being led by the hand. I think they did a great job by adding all of this variety and all these different choices and characters. It's just not finessed as much as I thought it should be.
I didn't mind the gameplay in The Incredibles.
I didn't mind it. It wasn't good enough for me, though.
I didn't mind the gameplay in Shark Tale either.
I have to say I was more pleasantly surprised by the stuff in Shark Tale, although I didn't enjoy the content nearly as much as The Incredibles.
So who would you give the nod in gameplay to?
Yeah, I would say it's probably a tie. I think that they both did some things well in the gameplay department for both games. I was really expecting to like The Incredibles a lot more than I did.
So what do you give overall?
Overall, I would play The Incredibles more.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily think it's that much of a better game.
I like The Incredibles, you know, slightly over Shark Tale. I thought they're both well put together games. They are what they are. I would prefer to play The Incredibles more than Shark Tales. I'm giving The Incredibles a 7.5.
7.5?
Yeah, I thought it was good, simple, fun.
I think that's too high. I'm giving The Incredibles 6.5, and I'm going to give Shark Tale a 5.5.
I'm giving Shark Tale a 7.
So there you have it. Two giant CG movies square off against each other in the video game world, and we both like The Incredibles a little bit more.